Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Thursday, August 7th, 2014. I am beginning today with probably the scariest news. Congress is coming back from their recess to have a hearing. Congress, terrifying. Yeah, Ebola, kind of scary. Congress, terrifying. But they are having a hearing to deal with what is referred to here as the Ebola threat. God help us, and that is a prayer. I sincerely hope that Congress doesn't do much of anything except maybe, please, close the borders and prevent people with Ebola from coming here. But hopefully we won't see any kind of martial law or anything like that. I want to mention one thing. Personally, and I stated this yesterday, I tend to agree with John Rappaport and other people who say that this Ebola thing is a psyop. I believe it's a psyop. I love Alex Jones, but I wish he would stop pushing the panic button about Ebola. And I've been thinking about something for a long time, few months, and it seems to me to be happening more and more. I believe that one of the things that was discussed at the Bilderberg meeting, and I of course can't prove this, but I believe that they were looking very closely at alternative media. I believe they were devising means by which they could use alternative media, and I've actually had some personal experience with this myself. I've seen it in other places. Particularly, the one place that it was really very clear was when Dutchson's put out the information that he had been approached and asked to help disseminate information, and that he would be rewarded for doing so. I believe that alternative media is maybe pretty seriously compromised. Some of it intentionally by the people putting it out, like the people who, I'm sure if Dutch Sense was offered that, there were other people who were made similar offers, and some of them probably took the offers. It just stands to reason that some people would. They would be tricked. Some really smart people have been tricked by these guys. They may have just been bought off. They may have been threatened. Who knows? And I don't believe that Alex Jones is intentionally going along with their agenda. But because it's clearly and widely known that news travels from InfoWars to Drudge to the mainstream media. And if these guys can pollute at source, which is Alex Jones, Drudge, other alternative media, then they can pollute the whole stream. And we know the stream is polluted at a certain point, but a lot of people can be tricked because the stream is polluted farther upstream than we were aware. And how would this happen? Well, it would happen through sources that had been good, that who knows, were killed and cloned, and it could happen in any number of ways without even the consent of the people being used. So I'm trying to qualify pretty much everything I read in this way, and realizing that the sources may be polluted. And it seems obvious that these guys would do this because they've been paying to control the media for years and years. I should say decades and decades. In alternative media, if they can pollute the sources, they have the opportunity to do for free what they've been paying to do with mainstream media, because they feed the information. And How hard is it to shoot an email to this person, that person? I think that I think that this is just something to be aware of, something to consider as a strong possibility that some of the sources that we trust may have been compromised, even through no fault of their own, but just through being out there looking for news and relying on sources. And you know, if these people can craft predictability models on all of us, what kinds of news stories will catch our eye, what will we emphasize, how will we present it, they can use us all to control the news, and not only the news, but opinion, and get people stirred up and generate luge, whatever. So I'm presenting this article from Breitbart in that context, that I do believe that we are being manipulated about this Ebola thing, and when it seems like a conspiracy, all of us alternative news readers and crafters will jump on it. So all they have to do is make it look like a conspiracy, and we will be their mouthpieces. They will be able to feed us whatever information they want to disseminate. And we'll do it, and we'll accept it. So that's just a deep caution that I'm feeling and that I want to pass along. From the Washington Times, and this is Drudge's big headline this morning, Russian bombers penetrated U.S. airspace at least 16 times in the past 10 days. Is this even true? I don't know. If it is true, you know, what's the reason? You know, for all we know, some cabal members could hire some guys to steal some Russian bombers and fly over the U.S. to create this kind of a headline. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that I think that we need to be extremely cautious what we believe, and even more than what we believe, what we emotionally invest in. And that is completely up to us. Now, this is an older article from Oliver Stone, a little over a week ago. My attention was just called to this. You know, this is maybe a balance, a voice of reason. Who shot down the Malaysian airliner? After this massive rush to judgment by U.S. media, please read these fascinating dissents from two honest investigative journalists who probe deeper than our, you know, propagandizing government-sponsored news media. So again, I just offer this for balance because of the Washington Times article, and for us to maybe not emotionally invest in a lot of what we are reading, seeing, hearing in the news. This is, in my opinion, the most significant portion of Alex's show yesterday. He had a guest, Mark Adams, who was representing Congressman Hanson. And this is a remarkable story. And as I've been sharing, tapping into history and seeing how long our government has been corrupt, this really caught my interest, because a lot of what happened to Congressman Hanson happened some time ago, and it's a long, sad story. I won't get into the whole thing, but one part I do want to mention, because this is just so in line with, it's so characteristic of how this criminal cabal-run government has been operating. In 1976, there was a dam that broke in Idaho, and there was a huge flood in September of 1976. And the people were awarded, Congressman Hanson fought for the people. He's from Idaho. And they were awarded some federal money to repair after and rebuild after the flood. And the IRS went after that money. It's outrageous. And I was stunned. I mean, I was thinking back to my life in 1976. I was fairly young. I was probably pretty innocent. And I would not have even been able to conceive of the government doing something like this. It was happening. It was out in the open. It wasn't, it was something that happened. And I was so intrigued by this story and by what this congressman had experienced that I looked him up on Wikipedia. And here's some information. You'll get probably more relevant information if you just listen to the interview from yesterday. But in this search and finding him on Wikipedia, I also found this, and I'm sure this isn't comprehensive, but list of federal political scandals in the United States. If you have time and you want to do some research, I'm not sure I'm going to look into this right now, but certainly a lot of information here. And again, I'm sure it's not comprehensive, but this is just what makes it to Wikipedia. And even Wikipedia says this is an incomplete list, which may never be able to satisfy particular standards for completeness. And they're inviting people to expand it. So if you lean in this direction, if you're a student of history, you love to do research, you might want to add to this article on Wikipedia. And now I realize I'm looking around and seeing that people are very stressed. People who follow this kind of news are very stressed, and even people who don't are feeling the pinch. Everybody's afraid of the Ebola. People are struggling. There's lack. There are water shortages. The stock market's been going down steadily for almost the last week, and I mean there might have been a little bounce this morning. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but after the bounce it was headed back down. And so knowing that these are really stressful times, I wanted to just take a couple of steps back from the news, because in the midst of all this that's going on around us, we all still have our lives to live. And I thought of this verse in Ecclesiastes, and this is Old Testament, and it's not even all that optimistic about the afterlife. But it just, it's good to remember this sometimes. Live your life. Ecclesiastes 9:8-10. Let your clothes be white all the time, and let not oil be lacking on your head. As Zig Ziglar said, get up, dress up, show up. Just, challenge yourself to be your best. And enjoy life with the woman whom you love all the days of your fleeting life, which he has given to you under the sun. For this is your reward in life and in your toil, in which you have labored under the sun. In other words, enjoy your life. We get caught up in all this fear and concern and worry, a lot of it having a focus somewhere in the future. If we step into a place in the present where we experience joy, where we experience the presence of the Holy Spirit, where we experience the love of God and the love of friends and family, we'll be equipped to deal with whatever comes at us. And this ends, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, for there is no activity or planning or knowledge or wisdom in Sheol where you are going. Well, this is the part that's kind of fatalistic, and of course I believe in the afterlife. I don't believe in just going to Sheol, the grave, with nothing to do. I believe there will be things to do in heaven. However, in the moment wherein we find ourselves, there are good things to do. And if we don't do those good things now, we can miss our opportunities. So I'm not saying to just stop doing things. I just want to frame what I do within this context of experiencing joy, taking time for loved ones, not constantly be in fear and trepidation about the future and Ebola and the border and what's going to happen, what's coming next. But to just release faith in the moment. And there's one other verse that I had on my heart that is a way through all this stuff. It's a way to live. It's a way to not just survive, but to actually live life. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. A lot of what we see when we look around us is just not going to last forever. So when we decide how we're going to invest ourselves emotionally and what we're going to set our thoughts on, sometimes I think it's good to just ask the question, is this eternal? And much of the time the answer is no. Some of the time it will be yes, like, justice is eternal. And there are eternal consequences. But what is really eternal, what will last forever, is faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Thank you for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and enforce the Bill of Rights.